Social media has a nearly ubiquitous presence in the lives of the most vulnerable among us, our children. An estimated 90% of teens from 13 to 17 use social media, and the stakes to protect them could not be higher. And as society focuses more on the mental health dangers social media can pose for teens, tonight we take a look at the physical danger lurking in the background as well. In our Prime Focus, ABC's Emmanuelle Saliba takes us behind the new technology, looking to help keep child predators at bay as parents nationwide look to safeguard their children.
Back in the day, a predator had to physically be in the same location as a minor, as a child, as a victim.
When we think of predators, many of us still think of a man in a van waiting near a playground. But the dangers children face today can often be less visible. This is Titania Jordan. She's part of a large team at Bark, a company that uses technology to help parents keep their kids safer online.
Now, the estimated 500,000 predators that are known to be online at any time know that the internet is a vast playground of children that are online upwards of 8 hours a day, most of them unmonitored, unfiltered, unrestricted.
Have you ever had someone reach out on one of these platforms, social media or the gaming platforms, that you didn't know? Raise your hand if that's happened to you.
We went to Mount Olive Middle School in New Jersey to speak with a group of students and their parents about some of their experiences they've had on social media.
Have you ever had an instance where someone on one of these apps reached out to you that you didn't know?
Like, as a 13-year-old with Snapchat, it's pretty scary because, like, when somebody adds you as a friend, and me with 1,000 friends, I'm like, maybe it's one of my other friends' friend that's trying to. But then it's like a 30-year-old guy trying to reach out to me. And it's pretty scary. Like, you don't know who you're adding until you add them.
Snapchat told ABC News their goal is to make it as hard as possible for young people to be contacted by someone they don't know. They say they have extra safeguards for teens to protect themselves from unwanted contact. But unwanted messages are not isolated to just one platform.
You spoke about an instance where your daughter had an interaction with someone online that she didn't know.
I have had the instance where one of the accounts that I do manage, adults were reaching out to her under the guise of being a coach, whether they are or are not a coach, but asking where she is, where her tournament would be, where she would be playing, what team, in-depth questions to find out her location, which, raised big red flags for me. It started probably around 10 was the first time, and now she's 13, and it still has occurred. Whether or not, the controls allow it or don't, you can still put the account as private, but they still can message you regardless.
Meta told ABC News they've spent years working with law enforcement in investigating child exploitation. They also have parental supervision tools that let parents see who their teens follow and who they're followed by.
Parents that are working, we put our children in front of these apps, these tablets or these televisions, and we walk away thinking that if they're engaging with children shows or activities, that they're safe. And I recognize that my children are not safe unless I am totally engaged in what they're engaging in online, whether it's a device, whether it's television. It also showed me that individuals who are creating these devices, these apps, and these platforms are not really as engaged in the well-being of our children.
While the issue of online child exploitation is not new, data released by the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children shows it's getting worse. In 2023, the nonprofit said it received 36.2 million reports of suspected online child sexual exploitation.
Parents think that because, like you said, this is here, I can't tangibly feel you and touch you, that it's okay. But no, it's not, because it's just as dangerous.
Lieutenant Paul Scortino has been working with the Internet Crimes Against Children Unit in New Jersey for over a decade.
They could be being groomed or talked to where, hey, here's where to meet, here's where to go. Person driving around with a van, that's quick. They could be right there and they can snatch your child off the street, off the playground. This may take a couple extra steps, a couple extra days, but it's just as dangerous as the way things used to be when there was no social media and no internet.
When we think about predators, many of us may still think about the man in the van parked around the corner or near the school. I see you laughing nodding. Is that still the case?
You really don't know who is on the other side of the phone or social media or the device and what their intentions are. So you just have to teach your kids to be aware and educate them so that they know what to share and what not to share.
We are on the side of parents everywhere working hard to raise their kids. Over the last 8 years, we've built more than 30 different tools.
In January, the CEOs of 5 major social media companies, TikTok, Meta, Discord, Snapchat, and X, testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee about the risks their products pose to young people.
We put special restrictions on teen accounts on Instagram. By default, accounts for under 16s are set to private, have the most restrictive content settings, and can't be messaged by adults that they don't follow or people they aren't connected to.
The CEOs of these big tech companies, they went in front of Congress and they basically told everyone, these apps are very safe for children and teens to use. I see the air quotes back there. Do you believe that?
No.
You don't?
Telling someone that it's not going to help. We need proof, we need a test, we need someone to test that app out because they're not showing us if it's true or not.
What do you think?
They're just telling Congress that it's totally safe, but Congress doesn't know that. Half the parents that kids are on this app doesn't know that either. They need to prove it to somebody. They need actual proof instead of word, because they're just lying.
Should these apps be safer? Should there exist a version that doesn't have all of that exposure?
I say yes, 110%. Yeah. I don't want my children exposed to what I would be exposed. And honestly, I don't want to be exposed to all of that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to see people, I don't want to see that, right? I don't go to those apps.
Demands for concrete measures to protect children online are rising nationwide. But experts say until technology companies create safer alternatives, the onus remains largely on parents and kids to avoid online harm.
I think that the most important thing, as I mentioned, is communication. But parents and kids, just remember, you don't know who is on the other end of the computer, the phone, the text message, even a text message. Very easy to portray to be somebody else that they're not.
So I'm the mother of this 14-year-old. She comes to me because I don't have Bark technology, so I don't know what's going on. But she comes and she tells me she's been receiving and interacting with a man. What do I say to her?
You remain calm. You say, thank you so much. Thank you for telling me. That's a really mature decision. Let's figure out how to navigate this. What we need to do is preserve the evidence. So before we block him, which we should absolutely do, let's take some screenshots so that we can give this to law enforcement so they can go after him so he not only stops contacting you, but probably the hundreds of other children that he's contacting as well.